Welcome to part 14 of the CipherVibe Cloud Security Capabilities series. This episode explains cryptographic security, why it matters, how the capability works, which mistakes weaken it, and how to build it in a measurable way. Cryptographic security ensures that encryption, signing, hashing, key management, and trust services are correctly designed and operated. The difficult part is not selecting an algorithm once. It is inventorying dependencies, protecting keys, rotating trust, and adapting safely over time. The key idea is that a security capability is more than a product feature or a collection of alerts. It combines people, process, technology, decision rights, evidence, and continuous improvement. We will examine its architecture, operating workflow, failure modes, defensive controls, implementation roadmap, and useful metrics. Coverage is not the same as effectiveness. A dashboard can show thousands of checks while the capability still fails because evidence is stale, ownership is missing, or remediation is never verified. The business outcome should be explicit. Teams need to know which loss scenarios the capability reduces, which systems are in scope, and which remaining risks require a conscious decision. To understand cryptographic security, start with its architecture and vocabulary. The capability should create a traceable chain from source evidence to a security decision and then to an accountable action. First, a cryptographic inventory maps algorithms, libraries, protocols, certificates, keys, owners, data, systems, and external dependencies. Second, key management covers generation, storage, access, use, rotation, backup, revocation, destruction, and audit. Third, public key infrastructure binds identities to certificates and depends on issuance policy, validation, renewal, revocation, and protected authorities. Fourth, crypto agility is the ability to replace algorithms, key sizes, providers, or trust anchors without unsafe emergency redesign. These concepts need shared identity, timestamps, provenance, ownership, and access control. Every summarized risk should link back to its source evidence and disclose missing information. A sound architecture separates collection, normalization, analysis, policy, workflow, and presentation. Teams can then test freshness, identity resolution, policy results, owner routing, and closure independently. Design for degraded conditions. Providers impose rate limits, schemas change, credentials expire, and events arrive late. A professional capability reports uncertainty and health instead of presenting incomplete information as fact. Trust boundaries deserve equal attention. Identify where data crosses accounts, tenants, regions, vendors, privilege levels, and administrative domains, then apply authentication, authorization, validation, encryption, and audit controls at those boundaries. A useful operating model for cryptographic security follows a repeatable evidence lifecycle. First, discover cryptographic use in source, binaries, configurations, traffic, cloud services, devices, certificates, and secrets platforms. Second, classify each use by purpose, data sensitivity, exposure, lifetime, algorithm, key custody, and compliance requirement. Third, prioritize expired or weak certificates, embedded keys, shared secrets, insecure protocols, and unowned trust relationships. Fourth, move keys into managed boundaries, automate lifecycle events, and test rotation without service interruption. Fifth, maintain migration plans for deprecated algorithms, provider changes, certificate authority compromise, and post-quantum transition. The workflow does not end when a ticket closes or an API returns success. Security closure requires fresh evidence showing that the risky condition is gone and does not immediately recur. Ownership should be established before urgent findings arrive using service catalogs, business applications, on-call schedules, and escalation paths. Prioritization should explain the influence of exploitation, reachability, privilege, data, business criticality, compensating controls, and confidence. Repeated findings should drive changes to secure templates, defaults, libraries, identity patterns, and architecture standards. Define escalation points for missing owners, disputed priority, failed changes, and evidence that suggests active compromise. Those conditions should move into incident or risk governance rather than remaining indefinitely in a routine queue. The fastest way to evaluate cryptographic security is to study how the capability can fail. First, hard-coded keys and shared secrets spread through repositories, images, backups, logs, and developer systems. Second, certificate renewal failures cause outages even when the underlying cryptography is strong. Third, encryption without authentication can allow undetected modification or protocol attacks. Fourth, key administrators with broad data access weaken separation of duties and increase insider risk. Fifth, unknown cryptographic dependencies make urgent algorithm migration slow and dangerous. These failures share a pattern. A local measure looks successful while the full outcome is weak. A connector, scanner, or repair can report success while coverage, exploitability, or recurrence remains unresolved. Measure whether the program improves important coverage, shortens exposure time, removes attack paths, and prevents recurrence, not how many alerts it produces. Exceptions need a reason, owner, compensating controls, approval, and expiry. Automation should reflect confidence, reversibility, blast radius, and business impact. Test both through controlled failure exercises. Correlate weaknesses instead of reviewing them separately. A moderate configuration issue, broad identity grant, exposed service, and sensitive data store may combine into a severe path even when no individual alert looks critical. A dependable cryptographic security program uses defense in depth. No single scanner, policy, gateway, or agent should be expected to carry the entire outcome. First, use approved libraries and protocols, authenticated encryption, secure random generation, and modern defaults. Second, store keys in managed key systems or hardware-backed boundaries with least privilege and usage logging. Third, automate certificate issuance, renewal, deployment, inventory, expiry alerting, and revocation exercises. Fourth, separate key administration from data access and require dual control for sensitive root operations. Fifth, build crypto agility into interfaces, data formats, configuration, testing, and vendor requirements. Control design should include preventive, detective, responsive, and recovery layers. Together, they establish safe defaults, identify drift, govern containment, and restore service. Least privilege applies to connectors, agents, orchestration identities, data stores, and administrators. Scope, separate, monitor, rotate, and test their access. Every control needs an owner and test strategy. Validate it with representative assets, negative cases, simulated attacks, provider failures, and rollback exercises. Integrate controls with engineering through clear pull requests, owner routing, reusable fixes, documented standards, and fast feedback. Preserve an evidence trail from detection through decision, approval, change, and verification. That lineage supports investigations, audits, lessons learned, and fair performance measurement without forcing teams to reconstruct history from separate systems. A practical implementation roadmap for cryptographic security should build trust before scale. First, inventory internet certificates, code signing keys, high-value encryption keys, and embedded secrets first. Second, assign owners and eliminate expired, weak, shared, and unmanaged cryptographic material. Third, centralize lifecycle management and test routine rotation and emergency revocation. Fourth, map long-lived data and systems requiring post-quantum migration planning. Fifth, exercise provider failure and algorithm transition before deadlines, make the change urgent. The roadmap is incremental because a focused production scope lets teams validate evidence, ownership, workflow, and control safety before scaling. Useful measures include cryptographic inventory coverage, automated renewal rate, unmanaged key count, rotation success rate, and deprecated algorithm exposure. Give every metric a precise definition, data source, owner, and known limitation. Pair lagging indicators such as exposure age with leading indicators such as coverage, control health, exception expiry, and secure template adoption. Maturity means the organization can discover important risk, explain it, assign it, act safely, verify the result, and learn from recurrence. Review the roadmap quarterly. Changes in architecture, threat activity, regulation, business strategy, and provider services can alter both priorities and assumptions. Retire metrics and controls that no longer guide useful decisions. For more cybersecurity market intelligence, research, and educational briefings, visit CipherVibe.com. CipherVibe is operated by Cloudsectech LLC. This video is general education, not legal, compliance, financial, or incident response advice. Never access or test systems without explicit written authorization.